podcast. Your host, Dr. KellyRae, is a renowned mindset coach and counselor, often referred to as the inner critic tamer. With a passion for guiding individuals through life's challenges, she specializes in personal growth and emotional healing. In each episode, Dr. KellyRae shares invaluable insights, practical strategies, and relatable stories designed to inspire you to take that first step toward positive change. So, grab your favorite beverage, settle in, and get ready to dive deep into meaningful conversations that empower you on your journey. Let's welcome Dr. KellyRae.
Hey there, welcome back to the Beginning of the Week podcast. I'm Dr. KellyRae, your host, and as always, I'm so glad that you are spending time with me today. You know, lately I've been thinking a lot about strong women. Not the version social media glamorizes, not the boss babe version, not the version that always has the perfect routine, the perfect mindset, the perfect balance, or the perfect answer. I mean the real strong women. The women who are quietly carrying enormous emotional weight for years. The women who learned how to keep functioning while their heart was breaking. The women who learned how to survive disappointment, uncertainty, financial stress, heartbreak, betrayal, loneliness, motherhood, caregiving, loss, and life's unexpected turns while still showing up for everyone else. And honestly, I think many strong women are tired. Not weak, certainly not incapable, and not failing. Just deeply tired. Emotionally tired, mentally tired, nervous system tired, decision tired, caretaker tired, soul tired. And the interesting thing is, many people don't even realize how exhausted they are because functioning became so normal. You wake up, handle responsibilities, take care of everyone else, push through stress, figure things out, keep going, and after a while, survival starts feeling like personality. So today I want to talk about the exhaustion many strong women quietly carry. Why hyper-independence can become lonely. Why so many women struggle to put weight down. And why learning to receive support may actually be one of the bravest things we can ever do. So wherever you are in the world, grab your coffee, settle in, and let's get this conversation started. I think many women become the strong one long before they ever consciously chose it. Sometimes it starts in childhood. Maybe you were the peacemaker in your family, the responsible one, the emotionally aware one, the one who learned to read the room quickly, the one who learned how to anticipate anyone else's emotions. Or maybe life simply required strength from you early on. And over time, you adapt. You learn how to keep going, how to hold things together, how to stay composed during crisis, chaos, how to survive difficult seasons without collapsing. And people begin depending on you because you're dependable. But what I think many people fail to realize is that strong women often carry invisible emotional labor that nobody sees. Not just task, emotional labor, remembering everything, thinking about everyone, managing schedules, managing emotions, managing responsibilities, trying to keep peace, trying to prevent problems before they happen. And after a while, your mind never fully shuts off. Even during rest, you're mentally carrying things. I remember when my daughter was younger and I was juggling multiple jobs while trying to navigate single motherhood and legal stress all at the same time. And from the outside, people probably thought, oh, look at her, she's handling it pretty good. But what they didn't see were the nights I'd finally sit down after she fell asleep and feel completely emotionally depleted. I remember one particular night, laying in bed, crying quietly because I was so overwhelmed financially and emotionally, while simultaneously trying to convince myself I needed to stay strong. I needed to do it for her. And I think many women know that feeling. Crying quietly, then getting up the next morning and functioning anyway. Not because you're fine, but because life keeps moving. You know what I find interesting? Many strong women become so good at functioning that people stop asking if they're okay. Because outwardly, they look capable. They still show up, still work, still help others, still smile, still handle responsibilities. But internally, they're exhausted. And sometimes that exhaustion isn't even from one major event. Sometimes it's years of carrying emotional pressure without fully putting it down. I had a client once who said something that stayed with me. She said, I'm so tired of being the one everyone comes to while secretly feeling like I have nowhere safe to fall apart. And honestly, I think that sentence describes how many women quietly feel. Needed by everyone, held by no one. And you know, there's something else I've been observing lately that I think is really important to talk about. Women are often incredibly supportive of other women. We cheer each other on, we celebrate resilience, independence, success, strength, self-sufficiency. And honestly, I think there's something really beautiful about that. Because many women know what it feels like to struggle quietly, to question themselves, to feel unsupported, to feel overwhelmed, to feel like they're failing, to feel like they have to hold everything together while life keeps demanding more from them emotionally. So naturally, we want to encourage one another. We want our friends to remember who they are. We want them to rise. We want them to know they're capable. But I've also noticed something interesting. Sometimes our encouragement accidentally keeps women trapped inside the very survival identity that's exhausting them. Because what happens when the strong woman finally has a moment where she isn't okay? When she's overwhelmed, burned out, heartbroken, emotionally exhausted, lonely, scared, unsure. Very quickly, people often rush in with, "You're strong, you got this, you'll get through it, don't let it take you down, you don't need anybody, remember who you are." And please hear me, those responses usually come from love. I think most people generally want to help. And honestly, it's hard watching someone you care about fall apart emotionally without wanting to fix it somehow. Especially women. I think many women learn to survive by becoming strong. And because strength became survival, we learn to encourage one another back towards strength as quickly as possible. Sometimes, what the strong woman actually needs isn't another reminder of how much she can carry. She already knows she can carry impossible things. That's part of the exhaustion. Sometimes what she really needs is permission to stop performing strength for a moment. To be human. To cry. To not know. To admit she's tired. To be able to say, "Oof, this hurts. I'm overwhelmed. I don't want to hold everything together today." And maybe part of healing, individually and collectively as women, is learning how to sit with one another's pain without immediately trying to push each other back into survival mode. Because sometimes support doesn't sound like, "You got this." Sometimes support sounds like, "You don't have to carry this alone right now." And the hard part is many strong women don't even know how to ask for support anymore because they became so conditioned to handling things themselves. Sometimes asking for help feels uncomfortable. Sometimes receiving support feels vulnerable. Sometimes resting feels undeserved. But somewhere along the way, many women unconsciously attached their worth to how much they could carry. How much could they give? How much could they endure? How much could they survive? And eventually, exhaustion becomes normalized. The body starts speaking through brain fog, sleep struggles, hormonal imbalances, digestive issues, anxiety, irritability, emotional numbness, burnout. But instead of slowing down, many women simply push harder. And honestly, I think some women are so used to surviving that they don't realize they're exhausted until their body forces them to stop. Don't get me wrong, I think strength is beautiful, truly. Resilience is beautiful. Growth is beautiful. Perseverance is beautiful. But sometimes strength slowly shifts into armor. And armor protects, but it also distances. I think many strong women secretly crave deep emotional connection while simultaneously struggling to fully trust. Because when life teaches you disappointment, abandonment, betrayal, inconsistency, or emotional pain, part of you learns, ooh, better not depend too much. Don't get too vulnerable. don't let your guard down completely. So even while longing for closeness, another part says, stay emotionally braced. And honestly, I've noticed many women feel safer being needed than being cared for. Because being needed gives a sense of control, a role, a purpose, a way to feel valuable. But being cared for, that requires receiving, that requires trust, that requires allowing someone to see you beyond your strength. And that can feel terrifying for people who learn survival through self-reliance. I remember years ago someone offering to help me during an incredibly stressful season of my life. And instead of feeling relieved, I felt really uncomfortable, almost guilty. Like I should be able to handle this myself. And I think many women listening right now know exactly what I mean. Sometimes the strongest women struggle the most with receiving support because they've spent so many years convincing themselves they shouldn't need anyone. I think hypervigilance is one of the most misunderstood trauma responses because society often praises it. You're so independent. You're so strong. You don't need anyone. And while independence absolutely can be healthy, hyper-independence often develops when someone learns it feels emotionally safer not to rely too heavily on others. So people become highly self-sufficient, financially independent, emotionally guarded, capable, productive, responsible. But underneath that capability can sometimes be deep loneliness, because many strong women don't actually want to carry life alone. They simply learned they had to. And frankly, I know many men carry this kind of loneliness as well. I think a lot of men were taught very early to suppress vulnerability, carry responsibility quietly, and push through emotional pain without fully expressing it. Which means many people, both men and women, are walking around exhausted while pretending they're fine. It just sometimes looks different depending on how we were conditioned to survive. And I think there's a difference between wanting partnership and wanting rescue. Many emotionally healthy women are not looking for someone to save them. They're simply long for emotional safety, support, peace, consistency, partnership, someone safe enough to exhale around, someone who doesn't create emotional chaos to manage. And honestly, I think many women become exhausted from doing hard things, but not from doing hard things, but from constantly feeling like they have to carry the emotional weight of life alone. The kind of loneliness is hard to explain unless you've lived it, especially when you're surrounded by people who admire your strength while never realizing how badly you wish you could put the weight down sometimes. You know, something I'm slowly learning is that healing isn't always becoming stronger. Sometimes it's about becoming softer, not weak, not passive, not lacking boundaries, just softer with yourself, softer in your nervous system, softer in your self-talk, softer in your expectations, softer in the way you carry life. Because I think many women have spent years surviving through pressure. Pressure to succeed, pressure to hold everything together, pressure to stay composed, pressure to keep proving themselves, pressure to not fall apart. And eventually, the body starts craving something different. Rest, peace, stillness, joy, safety, connection, support. And honestly, this is the part of why I created Soft 30 Reset. Because so many people are functioning while completely disconnected from themselves physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. They're surviving, but they're not truly nourishing themselves. And sometimes healing begins with reconnecting to simple things again. Sleep, movement, hydration, stillness, nervous system support, boundaries, joy, breathing deeply again. Learning your body deserves care too. Because exhaustion should not become identity. So if you're listening to this today while quietly carrying more than most people realize, I just want to remind you of something. You do not have to earn rest. You do not have to prove your worth through exhaustion. And being strong does not mean you're supposed to carry everything alone. Sometimes the strongest thing a person can do is finally admit they're tired. Not broken, not weak, not failing, just tired. And maybe this next season of your life isn't asking you to become harder. Maybe it's asking you to become more honest, more supportive, more nourished, more connected to yourself, more willing to receive. Maybe strength and softness were never opposites to begin with. Maybe the strongest women are the ones slowly learning they no longer have to survive every moment of their lives emotionally. So this week, I want you to ask yourself something gently. What am I still carrying that I no longer need to carry alone? And what would it look like to finally put some of that weight down? Thank you so much for spending time with me today. And wherever you are in the world, please know I'm sending you so much love, encouragement, and support as you continue getting through the week. Be gentle with yourselves this week. Some of the strongest people you know are quietly carrying battles nobody else can see. Until next week, my friends, take care of yourselves.
Thank you for joining us for
and
another episode of the Getting Through the Week podcast with Dr. KellyRae. If you're looking to connect with her or schedule an appointment, here's how you can reach her. Follow her on Instagram at AskDrKellyRae. Check out her Facebook page at Dr. KellyRae. Find her on TikTok at Dr. KellyRae. Visit her website at drkellyrae.com. Or send her an email at drkellyrae@gmail.com. Until next week, Dr. KellyRae sends you so much love.